Welcome to today's Explainer. We're looking at a truly monumental shift in the technology landscape right now. For the last couple of years, we've basically been living in the era of experimental AI. We've had these fascinating chat interfaces, raw model endpoints, and let's be honest, a whole lot of trial and error. But that era, it's ending. Today, we are analyzing the dawn of production-grade AI infrastructure. Specifically, we're unpacking some massive AI news, the launch of OpenAI presence, and how global enterprises are already using it to fundamentally alter the way they operate.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the leap from prototypes to production. Second, we'll crack open the hood to see exactly what's inside OpenAI presence. Third, we'll examine its secret weapon, the Codex improvement loop. Fourth, we'll check out enterprise adoption at scale. And finally, we'll break down the developer playbook.
All right, Section 1, from prototypes to production. We are talking about real-world AI deployment here. To really ground this in reality, consider this absolutely staggering number, 75%. Right now, if you dial OpenAI's English language phone support channel at 1-888-GPT-0090, you are greeted by an AI agent. And within just weeks of its deployment, that agent was already meeting or even exceeding internal benchmarks for human support quality. Today, it completely resolves 75% of inbound issues. We're talking open-ended troubleshooting, billing inquiries, account management, all handled without a single ounce of human intervention. That is a massive amount of Tier 1 support volume being handled seamlessly by an AI.
So, you might be wondering, how on earth are they actually doing this? The answer is OpenAI's Presence. Now, this isn't just another language model. Presence is a full-blown, enterprise-grade AI agent platform built specifically for voice and chat workflows. The real genius here is the packaging. It takes the reasoning capabilities of an AI and bundles them together with explicit policies, extremely strict guardrails, and automated escalation rules. And that bundle is exactly what takes an AI deployment from a risky experimental prototype and turns it into trusted, production-ready infrastructure.
Moving to Section 2, Inside OpenAI Presence. Let's take a closer look at the architecture and those guardrails. So how does this new architecture actually differ from what we've been doing? Well, with experimental AI, developers have been stuck working with raw model endpoints, and we all know that comes with massive hallucination risks. It forces teams into this endless, exhausting cycle of reactive debugging. It's honestly like trying to plug holes in a leaky boat. But OpenAI Presence takes an infrastructure approach. By relying on bundled reasoning, explicit policies, and escalation routing, it targets those specific workflows where accuracy and compliance are absolutely non-negotiable. Look, enterprises simply cannot afford a hallucination when they're handling customer billing, right? That's why these managed boundaries are an absolute must-have.
Okay, so how does it actually enforce these boundaries in practice? Let's walk through the exact guardrail-first workflow Presence uses. Step 1. It verifies the caller's identity at multiple stages before any context is even exposed. Step 2, it retrieves the account context, but only when the workflow explicitly requests it. Step 3, it executes approved actions strictly within its predefined scopes. And Step 4, if a request happens to fall outside those configured boundaries, boom, it immediately escalates the interaction to a human operator.
This brings us to the golden rule of Presence, which is simple but absolute. Anything outside configured scopes triggers an escalation. The true power of this system isn't just in what the AI can do, it's actually in what the AI is explicitly prevented from doing. This drastically cuts down on liability for the enterprise and makes sure that sensitive operations always remain 100% auditable.
Let's jump into Section 3, the Codex improvement loop. This is where we get into automated AI refinement.
But hey, what happens when things actually do go out of bounds? Well, Presence relies on a built-in, self-correcting feedback cycle. First, the system is continuously analyzing its failed interactions, any low-confidence resolutions, and misrouted escalations. Second, it uses Codex to auto-generate highly targeted configuration patches based on those exact failures. And third, it deploys those updated rules live with zero downtime, meaning the system is continuously optimizing itself. It effectively eliminates the need for your ops team to sit there manually tracking every single failure mode or constantly rewriting prompts.
To put the speed of this feedback loop into perspective, let's look at their initial deployment window. In exactly 10 days, this improvement loop reduced human handoffs by 15 percentage points. The agent rapidly figured out how to handle complex edge cases, things like ambiguous account states or tricky multi-step verification flows that previously confused it and triggered a human escalation. It literally heals its own operational gaps. How wild is that?
All right, Section 4, Enterprise Adoption at Scale. Let's zoom out and look at global business strategy.
This whole shift toward managed, production-ready AI, it is transforming global business strategy as we speak. Emirates, literally one of the world's largest aviation groups, has officially partnered with OpenAI to embed artificial intelligence entirely across its operations. And let me be clear, this is not just some PR stunt to launch a basic chatbot on their homepage. This is a prime, real-world example of a major global brand deeply integrating enterprise-grade AI infrastructure into its core daily activities.
Emirates is going all in. First off, they are deploying ChatGPT Enterprise across the entire group. They're also creating a dedicated AI center of excellence. They are launching tailored AI literacy programs to get their whole workforce up to speed on these tools, and even building an internal champion network across their departments. And crucially, they're exploring new generative AI customer service and operational efficiency use cases in secure, dedicated sandbox environments. They are systematically expanding their capabilities to support massive digital integration.
To really humanize this massive corporate shift, let's look at a quote from Ali Yakut, the Executive Vice President of IT at Emirates. He states that this partnership will make our technology investments both strategic and scalable, enabling us to deliver enhanced value to our employees and customers, fundamentally changing how we innovate, deliver value, and maintain our competitive edge in the industry. That right there, that is the exact mindset of modern enterprise leadership. The competitive edge belongs to the folks deploying scalable, reliable AI infrastructure.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 5, the Developer Playbook. Let's dig into the operational requirements.
Now, if you are a technical operator or a developer tasked with actually making this happen, you've got to start treating AI as an infrastructure component, not just some flimsy model wrapper. So here are your critical operational takeaways. 1. Guardrail configuration. You absolutely must define precise action scopes before deployment. Too broad and you increase risk, but too narrow and you're just driving up handoffs. 2. Escalation routing. Your ticketing system has to ingest human handoffs without any friction whenever the AI's confidence drops. 3. Context retrieval. Make sure your identity checks are idempotent and map your data securely so sensitive fields never leak. 4. Monitoring. You've got to track accurate telemetry, like resolution rates and handoff latency. Because remember, that Codex loop we talked about relies entirely on these metrics to auto-generate its patches. And 5. Compliance. The platform enforces exactly what you configure, so audit those policies strictly. But here's the absolute crucial takeaway for you. Because Presence abstracts all of that incredibly complex model routing, the identity verification, and the escalation logic into one single operational layer, developers are finally freed up. You don't have to spend your days endlessly debugging model failures or writing custom, messy fallback logic anymore. You get to focus on what actually matters, defining the business workflows and your action boundaries.
So we've seen how AI is rapidly moving from a fun, experimental chat interface to a self-correcting, enterprise-ready infrastructure. With systems that automatically enforce their own policies and quite literally patch their own failures, a massive chunk of traditional Tier 1 work is being fully automated. Which leaves us with a pretty critical question to end on today. As AI platforms shift to enforcing their own guardrails and self-correcting via feedback loops, how will your organization redesign its human support structures? I mean, if the AI is out there handling the routine stuff safely and securely, what incredible higher-level challenges will you empower your human teams to solve tomorrow? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep building, and I will catch you next time.